Hi, everyone. Erica here from In the Company of Cards. Happy Tuesday. Uh, Welcome if you're new. Welcome back if you've been here. I really appreciate your support. I love all your comments. Well, most of your comments. Um, but I appreciate everybody who's taking the time to write, whether it's in the comments section or sending me email. Um, I appreciate all of it. If you are trying to get in with me for a reading, at this point, I'm booked through May. So, you know, I will get back to you as I can, but the first appointments will be in June. So there are a few issues I thought I would look at today. They're kind of all over the place, which is fine. And the first one I'd like to look at has to do, of course, with Canada. 47 has raised the tariff amount on Canada. You know, he's back, he's forth, he's up, he's down, he's all over the place. I just want to remind you that I saw Mark Carney winning that primary. I don't know if that's what you call it there, but that primary. So he will be, I guess, forming a coalition ticket, uh, and they will be running against the conservative uh, faction led by Poilievre. I think that Poilievre has pretty much dug his own grave by aligning himself with 47. It doesn't look very patriotic from a Canadian perspective, I suppose. So I don't think he is anybody needs to worry about. I suspect that Carney and whatever coalition he comes up with will be the winners in an election. If something changes, I'll look into that again. But I want to ask a question because I'm just curious. When 47 first started to talk about annexing Canada as America's 51st state, I don't know about you all, but we all thought, as the French would say, it is to laugh. Because what are you talking about? I mean, what are you talking about? But now I've heard rumblings that no, he really is serious about wanting to make Canada the 51st state. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use uh, the older man card for 47, and I am asking the cards, what is uh, 47's intention towards Canada? I mean, is it to break the economy so that then they are weakened to the point where they, I don't know what does he think, beg us to make them our 51st state? Is this statehood thing a real thing? And let me say, I know people who were pro 47 because they thought that he would be more isolationist than expansionist, that he would take us out of these forever wars and, we would turn inward and just mind our business. Obviously, he is not only not isolationist, he is not only expansionist, he's showing imperialist tendencies, wanting to build an empire. That's what it looks like to me. But anyway, let's see. What are 47's intentions towards Canada ultimately? What is his ultimate goal? We're going to use the older man card for him, but we are intending for the cards to answer that question. Okay. So this stands for 47, and we're looking at his intentions towards Canada. Yeah. So we have the child, we have the heart, we have 47, we have mice, and we have tower. I think that this is actually what I said he wants to do. I think it is what he wants to do. This is for something new. He wants to make them dependent, and do something new with them. I'm going to argue that this is him making it the 51st state. It's not going to happen, but this is what he wants. And how would he do that? By weakening their government and their economy. I mean, the guy's delusional. But again, for those of you who voted for him thinking that he was going to be uh, make us more isolationist or take us out of the forever wars, um, hmm, one more time, we told you. Okay. Um, the next thing I think I'd like to look at is Mahmoud Khalil's arrest and detention and the prospect of his deportation and loss of his green card. So, for those who don't know, um, Mahmoud Khalil is a graduate student at Columbia University. He's also a student activist who was pro-Palestinian against the genocide that is being perpetrated by Israel on the Gazans. And that's how I'm putting it because that's how I see it. If you don't agree, then we can agree to disagree, or you can go someplace where, they have a different point of view. At any rate, Mahmoud Khalil, as an activist, has been pretty, I'm going to say, incendiary in his rhetoric, as activists are wont to do or want to be. And I think that he clearly is he hates Israel, which is unfortunate. I mean, I can certainly say I don't hate Israel, but I certainly hate the Israeli uh, government's policy, which is again genocidal, in my opinion, against the Palestinians. But at any rate, um, he was a mover and shaker in some of the protests that were happening at Columbia University several months ago. Now we know, and I read on this yesterday, that 47 has removed from Columbia $400 million in aid, because in sort of in punishment, he says, for Columbia not protecting sufficiently, in his opinion, the safety and welfare of Jewish students on campus. Whatever. And so, in keeping, and is sort of an extension of that, Khalil has been arrested. This is Mahmoud Khalil. He is in his 20s, I think. His wife is 8 months pregnant. He has been sent first to one detention center and then another detention center. And attorneys say that he's been moved around and put in places where it's very difficult for him to access legal representation. The ACLU has taken up his cause because the 47's stance is that he should not only be arrested, which he was, but he should be thrown out of the country and lose his green card status. Remember, green card status gives you permanent residency in the US. And why? Because of his speech. While his speech is, heated, we'll call it, it's nothing that is against the First Amendment, which is the right to free speech. And I wanted to look at this because I wanted to look at it sort of along the lines of the way that I'm looking at the dismantling of DEI. This is a quote from an article. Trump's executive order, which is getting rid of DEI, seems to be the first step in remaking all of American society to push racial, ethnic, and LGBTQ minority groups out of public life, not just in education, but also in the workforce. It's essentially a culture war purge that will play out in federal lawsuits. So, for example, let's say you are, I don't know, you have any kind of position of note. According to this administration, it doesn't matter where you got your degrees, it doesn't matter the grades that you got or the recommendations that you have. It doesn't, none of that matters. How you've contributed to your profession's um, growth or inquiry, spirit of inquiry, doesn't matter. By virtue of being who you are, which is LGBTQ, Black, Latino, um, ethnic in any way, you are by definition unqualified. I mean, of course, it's all upside down, but the purpose of it is to disappear us, just as this article said, to disappear us from public life in any um, visible, productive, generative way. That's the goal. Uh, so I guess I wanted to see. I know that Mahmoud Khalil's um, arrest has already been deemed inappropriate by a judge, but it'll go up the chain, and I want to see what his fate will be. So he's a young man. We're going to look for the young man in this card, and we're going to see what Mahmoud Khalil's fate will be, because as goes Mahmoud Khalil, so go the rest of us. You know, I think I think it's not a big step for him to say, well, okay, he has a green card. We can revoke the green card and get rid of him. But by the way, even if you're American born, if you are of color, or if you are ethnic, or if you are LGBTQ, we will make sure that your right to free speech is abridged. Your First Amendment right is abridged. That's why I'm saying if they call for protests in the streets, Black people, stay home. Stay home. We've been in the streets. Let other people go in the streets. Let white people fight this fight. They broke it, they can buy it. And, people won't like that, but that's okay. If you go out in the street and he decides to declare martial law, who do you think he's going to arrest first? Stay home, Black people. Okay, let's see what Mahmoud Khalil's fate will be in the justice system. Of course, this is the Trump justice system we're talking about. So we're going to look for the young man. That will stand for Khalil. Okay, so this is Mahmoud Khalil. Okay, I've got my 5, but I'm going to pull. So we have Clover, we have House, we have Mahmoud Khalil, we have the Ring, and we have the letter. So I think whatever happens will actually happen quickly. Um, and I can mirror this first card, Clover, with the last card, which is the letter. And so I had to pull more cards because the letter could be deportation, the letter could be um, uh, his green card, keeping his green card. Remember that Clover is lucky. Also, it's quick, but it's also lucky. But this card refers to his legal status. Second card is the house, and I can mirror that with the ring. Um, I think he will be released to go back to his wife. But I feel like they will still be monitoring him, watching him, hassling him, especially given who runs the CIA and the FBI now. Okay, I pulled clarifiers on him. We have the moon, we have the crossroads, and we have the ship. So this is Mahmoud Khalil. Uh, this is public opinion about him. Um, and I think that public opinion on him will be split. There will be people who say, he should be able to say whatever he wants to say. He's got a green card. He had, we have a First Amendment. But there will be other people who say, he should consider himself lucky to be here. Look at all the advantages he has being here. Could he at least be polite and respectful, and not put himself forward as an activist in this cause? So public opinion on him will be split moving forward. Okay, then we have as the fourth card, the ring, and we have the fox, the fish, and the mice. I'll tell you one thing that will happen as this goes on and he's harassed. 47's people will find a way to cut his funding because I'm sure he has funding being here. He's living in Columbia housing. He's probably got a stipend. He's a graduate student. Maybe it teaches courses. They will find a way to take that stipend from him. Okay, so this is his status, and we have the rider, we have the scales, and we have the whip. Okay, so this is his status, his green card status, and the message moving forward is that, this is one of the cards for the law, and there will be a lot of arguments about this. Again, because we have 47's people in the judicial branch, not just the executive and the legislative branch. So this will continue to be argued about. And I think in the end, he'll be able to stay, but sort of he will be effectively weakened, and staying may become untenable because he won't have funding. He won't have funding as a graduate student. Columbia has said, in response to having lost $400 million, they've said, we'll follow the law. I mean, and on the face of it, of course, that sounds like what you're supposed to say, we'll follow the law. But they didn't sound particularly combative towards 47 and his stance towards them. My concern about Columbia is the same concern I have for a lot of institutions of higher learning, that they will, like a lot in government have done, decide to obey in advance because they don't want to lose more funding. They want to get back the funding that they lost. And money in this country, money is at the root of everything here. Money and race are the root of everything to do with this country. And so, in terms of Mahmoud Khalil, I think that while he will legally be allowed to stay, he may very well have to leave because he can't afford to stay unless he finds funding in some other way. But they will remove the funding from him. They will just say, "You don't have it," which they won't have it because 47 took $400 million dollars from them. So, okay. Another question that this was a viewer question, and it was asked of me a couple of times, and I kind of I skipped it because, um, I had a sense of what the answer will be, but, you know, they didn't ask me, they asked me to ask the cards. And the question was about Section 8 housing. So, for those of you who don't know, in a nutshell, Section 8 housing is subsidized housing for people who fall below a certain economic financial threshold. Um, and there are there is talk that it is under threat. And of course, if you're logical in these days, that would make perfect sense that Section 8 housing would be gutted. And what does that mean if it's gutted? Well, people don't have any place to live because they can't afford to live in the place that they're living. So you'll have more poverty, more people on the street. But you know what? Whatever the cards say, if that's the case, um, it'll just hasten the revolution. So what I'm going to use for Section 8 housing and the future of Section 8 housing, I'm going to use the House and see what we get around that. Okay. So what is the future of Section 8 housing? What I feel like I should reshuffle because I think I put those cards in back in the deck from the last reading together, and so they appeared together when I pulled them just now. So this is how I shuffle because I don't like to, bend the cards. Shuffle like that and then do this just to mix them up a little bit. Okay, so sorry about that. So we're looking for the House, and that will stand for the future of Section 8 housing. Yeah, I don't think I need clarifiers, but we have the ship, we have the whip, we have the house, we have the anchor, and we have the clouds. So moving forward, the steamroller that he is, 47 moving forward, will cause this to be a point of contention. Obviously, there will be people who argue that you can't end or gut defund Section 8 housing because people will be unhoused. So there will be arguments about that. House is in the middle. But whether the program stays as it is, whether it's funded, whether it's eliminated, all of that, whether it stays solvent and solid is in doubt. And that's kind of why I didn't want to read on it. I'm going to pull a couple of clarifiers on clouds. Yeah. So, clouds, this is going to cause trouble for people over time. But I love to see the key at the end, and I'll tell you why. I mean, it's cold comfort, what I'm about to say. But I can take the very first card, which is the ship, and mirror it with this card that I love called the key. If people are unhoused that were previously housed under Section 8, this will just hasten the start of the revolution. And at the end of the revolution, everyone will have things right-sized. People will have places to live that they can afford to live in. People will have food to eat. People will be educated at low or no cost. People will have the appropriate health care. So just think of this as a step. When I keep saying we'll be okay, but not for a while, that there's a lot of pain to come. I think Section 8 housing will be some of that pain. I'm not trying to scare people. I'm trying to make people aware and be realistic and not sort of have blinders on and hope that everything's going to be okay in the short term. In the short term, everything's not going to be okay. Remember, Elon considers people who are part of Section 8 housing parasites, just like he thinks that all people of color are parasites. So this will hasten the rising up of that French Revolution type response that is coming. Along the same lines, I thought that I would look at America's health moving forward, particularly in light of a couple of things. One, well, I don't know if you're from overseas, you might not know this, but we have traditionally, since COVID began, been given by the government free COVID tests. Each household gets a certain number, free COVID tests. Guess what? No more. No more. So you can still get COVID tests, but you have to pay for them. What is the logic behind that? Except to think that people are parasites. And so if they die of COVID and they're undiagnosed and that ends up causing them to infect other people, well, good. That will hasten the demise of the parasite class. Of course, that's not how things are going to work, but that's what Elon and 47 think. So that's one thing. And then we have this brainworm devoured Kennedy at the helm of healthcare, and he is touting cod liver oil as a treatment for measles. He is also saying that people who actually contract measles, it's because of their poor diet and bad exercise habits. So I just thought that I would look at America's health in the next couple of years. We're going to use the tree for that because tree is the card for health. Yeah. I mean, I kind of feel like the same way about this as I do about looking at Section 8 housing. I mean, if your eyes are open, if you are woke, you can see the handwriting on the wall here. But let's look anyway. So we're looking at the nation's health for the next couple of years, and we're gonna look for the tree because that's the health card. Okay. Okay. Um, so we have the anchor, we have the young woman, we have the tree, which stands for America's health moving forward. We have the rider, and we have the letter. So, our health system, even without 47, um, you know, getting rid of everything, is not good. The insurance industry is um, usurious. Usury is where is the term for people being ripped off. It is, I mean, the amount of money that individuals have to pay both for insurance and even if you have insurance for healthcare is disgusting. They don't do this anywhere else in the world. We are really stuck. Um, and you know, uh, at an impasse as to how to fix this. Because if, when people bring up things like, well, why don't we do it the way Europe does it? Why don't we have medicine that is socialized? Oh, I said the socialism word. Oops, we can't have that. Um, Bernie Sanders, what was his tagline? Healthcare for all, you know? Um, so this feels like very stuck energy. Um, and the message that we'll take away from that is that there needs to be new um, legislation written for how healthcare should work. All right. So here is the card for America's health. And the clarifiers are the scale, the house, and the mountain. So, sorry, turn that off. So this is health. Um, you know, we're going to have to decide what we value most, money or our health, our welfare, our peace. Um, because right now, again, I said money and race are the two, underpinning girders of this country. Healthcare makes that case. So we have to decide how much do we value people. Uh, Musk doesn't, because most of us to him are parasites. I'm sure Trump would agree. But how do the rest of us feel about this? That's the question. Um, this is people's individual health experiences. This is our bodies. And it ends with a mountain. We are They say life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Well, all three are being infringed upon. And this is an opportunity for us to stop and assess, reevaluate what do we value and why? Do we walk our talk? Okay, message. What will we take from all this experience of, you know, um, deaths that will increase from measles, deaths from COVID, deaths from bird flu, and whatever else is coming down the pike that Robert Kennedy would like us to, I don't know, I don't know what he wants us to do. But anyway, take cod liver oil. So we have the lily, the ship, and the ring. I do think, again, there will be pain. There will be pain. But this vertical line is a future line. So I think that the message we will all take from this is that people deserve peace of mind around health issues and around health costs. And moving forward, I think there will be a new contract forged um, with the people that will take that into consideration. But there will be pain first. And then finally, we have the letter, we have the moon, we have the clover, and we have the bear. So, you know, moving forward, um, our reputation as a healthcare providing nation is in the toilet. It's not good. We are we're very stopgap. There's no, emphasis, for example, on preventative health. Um, and there won't be. And that's because 47's in charge. And 47 will, as long as he's in power, we will be stuck. But I do think once he has been removed, um, things will change. And I do think that we will make a new contract with each other about how we do healthcare. And I think it'll be more humane. I think it'll be kinder and fairer, but not yet. Not yet. And this will only happen as the result of people experiencing some real hardships. So, I mean, that's a fact. Okay, one more question. And that is on the um, California gubernatorial race. So there are already a bunch of names in the field. The governor's races are important because, um, for obvious reasons, I don't need to explain that. So there are a lot of names already have been thrown into the hat. And when I say names, I'm talking about Democratic primary names because we have the primaries first, and that would be in um, the summer, I guess, because the election is not until next year. At any rate, two names are the ones that I really want to look at. We know that Gavin Newsom will not be in the running because he will have run out of, statute of limitations. He'll be on to other things. But the two names that are of interest. One has declared and one has yet to declare. So the one who's just declared is Katie Porter. Now, I hope you know who Katie Porter is. If you don't, you should. She lost her seat in the House last election, but I'm telling you, she's a real advocate for her constituents. Her claim to fame, what we know her for, is her whip smart understanding of how budgets and finance and money work. Uh, she's really, really good. And she also pulls no punches. She knows how to speak truth to power. She comes with receipts. She has proof. She asks for proof when she asks questions, hard questions. She's really a champion for people, and where our money goes and how our money is spent. So a lot of us love her in California. The other name will be no surprise to you, and this is Kamala Harris. Now, Kamala Harris has not declared that she's running. And in fact, prior to Katie Porter's announcement, the announcement from Kamala Harris's side was that she would make a decision in the summer. Now, common wisdom has it, but sometimes common wisdom doesn't have it. But common wisdom says that were Kamala Harris to decide to run, that the field of candidates in the primary would shrink down to just her, that everybody would step back. And then, she would be up against whoever the Republicans would run as their candidate. So I think what I want to do is just pull three cards, could end up being five, I'm not sure. But I'm going to pull, I'm looking at the gubernatorial race in 26, and I'm going to pull five cards for Katie Porter, and three cards for Katie Porter and three cards for Kamala Harris. As I said, if I don't get enough from three cards, I'll pull five. And let's just see what the cards have to say. Okay, so I've been shuffling the whole time I was talking, but so these will be for Katie Porter and her candidacy. Of course, she has to start sooner anyway because she would need more time to raise money. If Harris were to run, the money's probably already there. But any rival uh, needs to get into the field now or already be in the field because they need to raise money. Okay, and these will be for Harris. And again, if I need to pull more, I will. Okay, so let's pull one more card for each of those women. Okay, final card for Porter, final card for Harris. So for Porter, we have the coffin, the scales, the heart, the woman. People love Katie Porter. She's a really super fair politician. Um, she's really respected and liked for that. But I don't love I don't love it that the line starts with the coffin, which speaks to the thing that I said before I even pulled cards, which is if Harris entered the field, everybody else on the Democratic side could say, okay, go ahead, because I'm not going to run against you. And that's what I feel like could be the case. And then for Harris, we have the letter, we have star, we have the moon, we have the house. I think that the nomination is Harris's if she chooses it. She's a known quantity in California, even more than Katie Porter, obviously. These are votes. If she decides that this is going to be her future, it will be her future. But, it's not the worst thing in the world to have those two to choose between. Again, who knows who's going to be on the Republican side? Some Trumper, of course. Um, but I think we would have an embarrassment of riches if we had to choose between in the primary Porter and Harris, but I think Porter would step down if Harris entered. So that's what I see. All right. I think that's enough for a Tuesday. Tomorrow, if you want to see some more of me, I will be writing my Substack article. I write every Wednesday. It's called In the Company of Cards or Erica Robinson Lenormand, or you just put my name in and I'll pop up and you can read my work. So listen, have a wonderful rest of your day. And again, please do like, share, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Take care.